We need a one-way ticket to Des Moines, please.
Des Moines? What the hell for?
Good morning. It's Sunday, May 17th, 2020. My name is Justin Comer, and this is Rock Hard Caucus. I'm joined as usual by Evan Jones.
Hi, hello.
And for the first time in about 2 months, joining us, returning, is Chuck Yonda.
Hello, everybody.
The legend, the returning champ.
Yeah, I'm back and I'm better than ever. I used my quarantine time to have a fresh brain installed. I've had it polished several times. I've been listening to the show, and last week there were far too many women on the show, so I've come back, and there's none this week. It's just the fellas now.
That's right. That was his only demand for his return to the show.
Yeah.
So we don't need to get straight to business since this is your first time on in a while. How have you been holding up with the virus problem?
Fine. So I've been going to work every day. I think I've missed one day of work since this started. My girlfriend has been laid off for 2 months now, and she recently returned to work in the last couple of days. So I know with me, like, I've been wearing my mask the whole time and everything. It was kind of scary at first to be out there, but after like 2 weeks went by, and you just see like waves and waves of people outside and coming into the store and at the grocery store and at the gas station without masks, you just sort of like, it doesn't bother you as much, I guess, because it's like sort of a helpless feeling that like, well, you know, these people don't give a fuck. Like, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop wearing mine, of course. Like, I, have an immunodeficiency, so I kind of have to. But I've been good. I mean, my life has changed very little during this, except for like the threat of getting sick. And it's been interesting to listen to people and read stuff about people who are getting ready to return to work. And, I think the anxiety for them is much higher than anything I experienced when this first started, because they've just been sort of sitting and reading all these, all the numbers and like hearing all these stories about people packing the store and the restaurants all the time, which recently reopened here in Iowa, by the way.
Right.
You can go back to Applebee's and you can have your fucking kick and dipper onion straws served to you by, a college student again instead of picking it up, because that's... I don't fucking understand what the hell people are freaking out about with restaurants, but life is everything's normal here now. Actually, the numbers are going down. We're considering this a big victory. The state's reopening. Everything's going to be fine. We flattened the curve, and I'm excited to see everyone back at work.
There's definitely not another spike coming. Everything's going to be fine from here on out.
Yes.
Crushed it, killing it.
Iowa just reopened pretty much everything on Friday, just 2 days ago. I haven't left my house.
Me
Which
neither.
rocks.
Yeah, dude.
I've seen reports that basically every bar in downtown Iowa City just immediately disregarded all safety guidelines.
Oh, yeah, man.
All the patios just completely full of people eating and slobbering all over each other. So things are definitely going to remain totally fine. No problems coming. We're not going to, the virus is over.
Yeah.
The craziest part to me is they're reopening gyms. Like, that's like, gotta be
I don't,
the worst.
Looking at it, I think that the only part about opening stuff, like, that bothers me, I mean, because you got to remember, dude, like, I've been out and about, for one reason or another, because I've had to be since this thing has started. So I've kind of just become like, I hate to say it, but I don't think it like frightens me as much as it used to. It doesn't give me like...
that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't give me the lingering anxiety anymore. Like, it's just, I don't know. I've gotten so used to wearing the mask that I don't like freak out about it much anymore. But the thing that bothers me is some of the businesses that are reopening, they're just doing it with like their full staff or whatever, and they're not really taking any precautions. Like if it's a gym and you just have like whoever like the general manager is, like the manager of the gym is just there working because they want to or whatever, and all those idiots want to pack the ellipticals and like the squat racks and shit together and get each other sick, okay, that's fine. But like there shouldn't have to be a full staff there because they choose to reopen, and they're put at risk by all these dumb fucks. It's the same with like wait staffs and shit. I mean, I experienced the same thing. Justin and I was out driving around on Friday, and there's some restaurants and bars by my house that have outdoor seating, and there just was it's like nothing, man. Like there's bars that serve food, and they're like, oh, well, we're reopened for food or whatever, and like people are just packed into the bar. Like there's one pretty old one by my house that I saw a picture from, and like the bar was like crowded with people. But the thing that kind of sucks the most about this is the people that are most of the time people that are getting sick and dying from this are the ones that are like at risk and like still kind of being careful. But like all these dipshits that are going out and just doing whatever the fuck they want like the whole time, a lot of them are like sadly probably going to be fine. It's just
well, they're conscious that they're more dangerous to other people, like
and it just depends what they do with it.
It's just a complete desire to not have any sort of social responsibility.
Yeah, man,
just completely divorce yourself from society.
Yeah,
which we do in fact live in.
We do be living in a society. I don't understand why people are seeing like the mask thing as like a form of oppression. Like if you think it's like tyranny for it to be suggested that you wear a face mask for 10 minutes while you go inside of a store, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, did you pay attention in like civics and like history? Like, is that what you think tyranny is? Like, fuck, man.
Also, this is America. I
this is
can
America.
wear a mask if I fucking want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, pretty much the whole time you could have just done whatever you wanted because there was no enforcement of any sort of safety guidelines anywhere.
Yeah, you're not getting arrested. Like, there's no threat.
Yeah, when you brought up the gym, there was a guy, I think it was in Cedar Rapids, like last week or the week before, who just reopened defying the state
I heard about
mandates.
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of those.
I thought about talking about that on the show, but I didn't bring up the article. I don't think anything really happened to him. Like, he might have to pay a fine, but...
Yeah, he'll pay a fine, is what it is. It's for every day that they're open. Like, he might have to go, like, I don't know, maybe a little bit of jail time. I doubt it, but there'll definitely be a fine per day, because there was a woman that opened up her hair salon that she privately owned, and she got a base fine for doing it, and then a fine for every additional day she was open. But my favorite one is that tattoo parlor in Texas. Did you guys read about that?
I don't think so.
I vaguely remember hearing something about it.
Oh boy! So this guy owns a tattoo parlor in Texas, and he's like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna open my business. I don't give a fuck what the government tells me." So he got like 15 of his like 3%er buddies to come and like surround the building in the parking lot while holding their big fucking baby bottles with them, wearing armor, and I don't know what ended up happening. Like, I'm sure the police were just like, can you guys, like, leave? Like, we're just going to walk in and give him a ticket if you guys want to just, like, fucking relax for a second.
And they all shook hands with the cops and thanked them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for your tyranny.
I heard there was an open carry demonstrator in Cedar Rapids, too.
Oh, yeah.
Tight.
At one of the come and goes. The one by my parents' old house, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that. That's funny.
So before we started the show, we were waiting for Chuck to finish playing Madden, and
Madden 2020 on PC, like a sophisticated gamer.
That's right.
Chuck, you asked me a question about sports. Would you like to ask me again?
Yeah. So just preface this by saying, I'm sure some of the listeners, maybe all of them, I don't know that there has been no sports in the United States for quite a while now. And this weekend is a big weekend, today specifically, because we have both a NASCAR race and we have a golf tournament today. I'm sure the ratings will be nice and high for that. So I asked Justin, because I mentioned, like, oh, I'm going to watch the golf today, and Evan's like, I'm going to watch the car race today. And I posed a question to Justin asking him, which one do you think is worse? Or, like, which one do you think is, like, less ethical, golf or automobile racing?
Yeah.
I know my answer.
I think
shit.
I think the listeners probably know by now I'm not much of a sportsman. I'm happy for you guys that sports are back in a big way today.
Thank you.
All the sports.
These are both kind of fringe sports, too.
They are.
Like,
I only marginally enjoy both, but
they're both for elderly white people.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, the major ethical violation like they both have a big one. I think golf wastes a ton of land and space, and car racing
and water.
That's true. Car racing burns a lot of fuel, and those are both big problems. I mean, think about all the golf courses in America that could instead be used for public housing or anything like that. Maybe like publicly owned agriculture or something. But then the racing, I mean, burning all that fuel is just making all of our climate issues worse. I think like a few years ago, I probably would have said golf is worse. But I think, you know, the existential threat that climate change is presenting to us, I think that racing probably edges it out now.
And I will argue, too, you mentioned land use. Have you ever seen, like, an aerial photo of, like, a major NASCAR circuit? Like, not only is the track huge, but the parking lot around it is massive as well. And there's really not a whole lot that can be repurposed to use the actual, like, NASCAR track itself. Whereas
That's true.
A golf course could be easily repurposed, even though they're both gross misuses of land. And the golf courses tend to be more invasive and more disruptive to the wildlife in the area. But
there's also the noise pollution aspect of NASCAR,
God,
which
yeah.
causes
Yeah,
problems for a lot of areas. I will say NASCAR does have green initiatives. I don't know to the extent, but I do know that they plant like, you know, whatever, hundreds of thousands of trees or whatever the fuck to offset some of the carbon emissions.
is that the guys that like own the oil companies that like own the racing teams that are in favor of that? Or
Yeah, I think the oil companies more use it to advertise than they do to actually own. Most of the like teams are owned by either like, I don't know, like Joe Gibbs is one. He's like sports
legendary NFL coach.
Legendary NFL coach. Rick Hendrick is just like a car dealer. Like a lot of them are like car dealers. A lot of the team owners are like guys who own a bunch of car franchises or car dealerships.
The roots of NASCAR are pretty good though, actually, as well.
I was gonna say, also NASCAR has a much more working class.
That it does.
Roots.
Yes.
Yeah.
For better or worse. And I also do use E85 ethanol, which we, as Iowans, we know that
We endorse.
the ethanol industry is, there's no problems there. It's not like a
It's
Band-Aid
good, actually.
or like a PR effort to make us feel better about consuming fuel.
Yeah, we all directly benefit from the sale of E85, so we, you know, fully endorse the burning of corn fuel.
Start your engines, gentlemen.
Yeah. But there's also a lot of problems with golf. Like I said, like the water thing, I think is a big issue, especially because like a lot of the golf courses are in like places like Arizona where there's like a high percentage of retirees or like rich retirees, and also places that have like big problems with like water and drought and like where to get water from, and you know like the extent to like it takes to like irrigate an entire
I know.
It's a lot. Like it's a big problem. Those resources could be used a lot more like equitably, obviously.
So both are bad. The only good sport is hockey.
Yeah. How wasteful is hockey, do you think?
I would say hockey is not very wasteful because ice is just resurfaced. It's like redone completely from time to time, but an actual ice rink is just resurfaced by the Zamboni. The only thing that I would say, the only knocks I would have against hockey is it's mostly like racists that watch hockey. It's very inaccessible.
I mean, it's funny that everywhere.
The thing is, it's very inaccessible to like normal people. It always has been. To play hockey and to do it well, you have to start very early, which involves having to pay for ice time. Coaching's very expensive. Team fees and club fees are expensive. I think we've talked about this before on the show. Equipment is expensive as you continue to grow. Like sticks, good sticks are like a couple $100, and some people go through those like toilet paper. But yeah, it's an accessibility thing. Like even just watching it on television, like there's really not hockey on TV like there is baseball and basketball and NASCAR and stuff. So like having to like pay for a cable package if you're one of the people that pays for that sort of thing to get it, and even back in the day, like it's kind of a hard sport to follow if you don't really know how to watch it. I mean, back in the day when there was before HD, that was like one big complaint people had about hockey. It's like, oh, I can't see the puck, you know. But
Oh yeah, it's too fast and small.
yeah, well, the thing is like you don't really watch the puck. You watch the player movement, and like you can tell where the puck is based on how people are moving. And yeah, I don't think hockey's very wasteful. The only way I would say is wasteful is just the space to like a rink and like the parking lot takes up. But most NHL teams share an arena with another team. So like the LA Kings share the Staples Center, for example. I think St. Louis, I think the Blues share a stadium with like a college team too, but sports are just bad in general if you want to get technical about it, but
Yeah. Nothing is, like we said in previous episodes, nothing is as bad as FIFA.
Yes, nothing is as bad as FIFA.
Okay, well, I think we can get to the meat of today's episode. We've had our appetizers, and now it's time to just cut the roast and eat the baked potato or whatever. I don't know how far I'm going to go with that metaphor.
I think it went far enough.
We had a request from a listener. I think I'm going to leave a name out of it just in case, because this involves a company that they maybe are employed by. We're going to talk about XPO Logistics. Do you guys know what this is at all?
I don't know.
I know they're in the logistics business.
That's true, yeah. They're publicly traded. They're like a trucking company, basically, just moving stuff around the country. They're a pretty big national company, actually international. They've got a lot of stuff in Europe as well. Last time I checked, I've got a screenshot from their Wikipedia page. Revenue is $16.65 billion. Operating income, $821 million. Total assets, $14.13 billion. And they have 100,000 employees worldwide. In Iowa, they have, this is kind of like hard information to find because they're not really listing like our employees per state. That would be a weird, weird data to share with the world. But according to an article I found in 2016, XPO has about 600 employees in the state of Iowa, and about 2/3 of those employees work in and around Des Moines. They've got 15 locations in Iowa that I could find. This is like warehouses, offices, all that stuff. They're in Cedar Rapids, Ottumwa, Shelby, Keokuk, Ames, Clear Lake, Fort Dodge, Sioux City, several in the city of Des Moines, and then also in Clive and Ankeny. So they've got a presence here in the state.
A foothold, if you will.
Yeah. They were founded in 1989, headquarters in Connecticut, and their CEO's name is Bradley Jacobs.
It's a pretty normal name. Usually those guys have like weird, like...
Yeah, we do a lot of like sussing out names on this show.
Yeah, we do. That one's pretty normal.
Before
I
we
don't have
know.
much to say about that.
Well, we'll get more into Bradley later. I've got a Forbes article about him, and it's in Forbes, so you know it's going to be good. But before we talk about Mr. Jacobs, the CEO, I've got an article here from KSHB, which is a local news organization in Kansas City. And this is about how XPO had been responding to coronavirus at the beginning of April. This was published April 6th. So it's a little old now, but I think it's going to be relevant to the conversation. The headline is, Trucking Company Reports 300 on Pandemic Leave. Employees complain about lack of PPE. This is written by Andy Alcock. If we want to talk about names, there's a good one. Some 300 employees from an international trucking company have been placed on pandemic sick leave due to coronavirus. XPO Logistics is an international company employing 50,000 people in the U.S. and 100,000 worldwide. After employees at the Kansas City, Kansas facility complained of a consistent lack of cleaning supplies, a Philadelphia trucker contacted 41 Action News. He didn't want to be identified for fear of losing his job. Some terminals, some locations, there's literally nothing to wipe forklifts down with, nothing to wipe down trucks with, the trucker said. Bob Josephson, XPO spokesman.
Josephson. That's a new
Bob
one.
Josephson, yeah. He said the company is competing for supplies just like everyone else in the industry and across multiple sectors of the economy right now. Yes, so a logistics trucking company did not have access to cleaning supplies.
It's a multi-billion-dollar company with, what was it, like $20 billion in assets?
I think it was like more like 15 billion, but still, I think they can probably
more than enough.
Probably get some cleaning supplies in
Get
there.
a couple things of wet wipes in every facility.
Yeah, and this is early April again. So if we want to be charitable, this is like 2 weeks after everybody started taking this seriously.
Yeah.
I think they had 3 time to try something. Joseph said the company is ordering thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer and thousands of gloves and masks. Our colleagues who are on the front lines, truck drivers and many others, their safety is our number one priority.
It's always them. Like it's always the most important priority in any business is the most expendable person. That's true. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The hand that reaches out to touch the diseased public for you to take their money first. That's
Sure, our actions may, completely contradict the statement I'm making, but what's more important, the things I say or the things I do?
That's like what my dad always used to tell me. Do as I say, not as I do. That's just the general rule of thumb to live by, I guess, if you have any power.
But it's not just the Pennsylvania truck driver or the KCK employees who are complaining. That's Kansas City, Kansas. They use a cute little acronym there, I guess, when it's
nice.
Local news. Yeah.
I love to save time and keystrokes by doing things like that.
An email from an XPO employee in Albany, Georgia said, in part, "We do not have the proper PPE. We're being told each day that it's coming and to be patient, but we're forced to come to work." Yes, that sounds like your number one priority right there, the safety of those people.
Yeah, it's just like Half-Life 3, man. It's coming. I swear.
It's coming. An email from another XPO employee said, "I'm in California. No social distance, no care at all. Sick employees kept quiet." A St. Louis XPO employee wrote in another email, "We have no PPE. I have no hand sanitizer. I did get some wipes from a customer, thank God." So that's the best they can do is, being tipped with wet wipes when they drop off a load.
Man, that's grim.
Wow.
One XPO employee based in Tampa told 41 Action News via email that they have had very little support from XPO Logistics. Yes, sounds right. "We have no cleaning supplies for our tractors," the employee wrote. "Some cleaning supplies for the handhelds showed up today. We had boxes of masks, although not N95. Dock pickups are not using any social distancing guidelines, allowing anyone to walk into our building."
The thing is with this is it's bad, but this is extremely widespread. I think that the vast majority of industries are operating just like this. They've changed very little, and it really has to do with, the local management that run the facilities for the most part. Like, obviously, if you don't have the support from corporate to do things like that, they're not going to happen. But
yeah,
I'm telling you, man, like, most people don't give a fuck about this.
Yeah.
They really don't. I've said this to you guys before, just from me being out and about. I would say people that actually, like, make a conscious effort to, like, put some distance between one another and, like, wear a mask and stuff. It's like masks are like 1 out of 20 people maybe at the most, and then like people that make an effort to distance is maybe like 1 in 10. Like most people they don't fucking care, dude. Like that's the scariest part about this. If there's anything scary about it left besides getting sick and your family getting sick itself,
I would be shocked to see learn of a trucking company that was taking like reasonable, effective measures to combat spread, but like I don't think that that's the case for
nobody in the shipping
vast
industry
majority
is.
Unless it's like a super small mom and pop kind of place.
Dude, nobody in the shipping industry does. I've got customers that work for FedEx Ground and work for
that's a whole nother
the postal service, and like they don't care. Like they don't think it's a big deal. They're not worried about it at all. But the thing is though is like I really hope those people are right. I really hope that like it just goes away. But the likelihood of that's that's okay. Let me rephrase it. That's not really what I mean. I'm kind of hoping that I'm being overly cautious, maybe too cautious.
Yeah.
That's more so what I mean. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, life has to go on to some extent.
Does.
It's like it's unavoidable to a certain extent, but also
it's
like
very gray.
It's sad that there's not more being done to like make it safer. And now we're just like, oh, everything's fine.
Lebtown, a Pennsylvania newspaper. That's the name of a paper, I guess.
Lebtown?
Lebtown, L-E-B town. Not sure.
Okay.
Not sure where that name comes from.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that. But the paper reported an apparent employee walkout at an XPO-operated food packing plant in Palmyra over coronavirus concerns. So I guess they run a food packing plant, so XPO may be more diversified than I thought. When the 41 Action News investigators asked the Philadelphia driver if the company is adequately protecting drivers, he replied, "No, absolutely not." The driver claimed that XPO has temporarily shut down several facilities across the country due to positive coronavirus tests. Those facilities include ones in Carlstadt, New Jersey, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Gary, Indiana, Youngstown, Ohio, and Newark, New Jersey.
A lot of those cities are absolute shitholes, too. Like, I've been to Youngstown for a hockey game, and goddamn, that town is just not in good shape. And Gary, Indiana, also just ravaged by the manufacturing industry leaving.
Those are Rust Belt, decay cities for sure.
Sorry if you live there, anybody.
Yeah, we live in Iowa, so...
Yeah, it rocks here, man, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the towns that come up in like a screenplay when the joke has to be like the shittiest place you can think of.
Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana.
Josephson confirmed the company has shut down the Kansas City, Kansas facility after a Cedar Rapids, Iowa driver who had been there tested positive for COVID-19.
Represent.
Hey, that's where I live.
Yep.
I know where that is.
Yep. So they shut down the Kansas City facility because a driver who lives here who had been at the Kansas City facility tested positive. But from what I've heard, the Cedar Rapids location did not shut down. And yeah, Josephson did not specifically confirm any other facilities have been shut down. He said, "We've had facilities shut down because of positive cases. You know there have been reports of that." He provided video of thorough sanitizing.
Wow, that's the proof right there. We made a video. Look, we sanitized.
In most cases, we are finding it really only takes a day or so to get the sites thoroughly sanitized where there's a positive case and get them back up and running.
Yeah, don't worry about the employees, though. They just can come right back to work. There's no need for them to stay at home for a few weeks to,
Employees said it might be too little too late. A social media poster noted that an employee was sick on a recent Friday and wasn't confirmed positive for the virus until 9 days later, and that's when the cleaning took place.
Right.
Nice.
So somebody had been, sick for over a week, and they didn't clean the facility until the positive test came back.
Yeah. One thing that's been maddening about this is, like, they don't talk at all about the incubation period for the virus or, like, any of that. Like, it's not even, like, it was a thing that was covered in, like, March. But since then, it's, like, we've, like, forgotten that it takes, like, sometimes 2 weeks for symptoms to even present themselves. So it's, like, there's a lag in all of the reporting on all of the testing. Not to mention that they're not even testing enough people to begin with. Like... It's fucking insane.
You're contagious before you show symptoms.
Right. You can be contagious before you show symptoms. Mm-hmm. And also, like, sanitizing isn't going to do shit anyway. I mean, it might to a certain extent, but it's like airborne.
Your face, yeah, it's like touching your face, like putting your fingers in your mouth like a child. Like, maybe then you have some reason to worry, but...
Yeah.
Well, honestly, all of this just sounds too complicated. It sounds too inconvenient for these business owners. It's too hard on the economy. It's really best that we just do nothing and wait for it to go away. It's just the flu.
Yeah, these multi-billion-dollar companies are just too powerless to do anything.
I know. Like, I feel bad for them, man. I know what it's like to be mildly inconvenienced.
I mean, that's why I've been staying home for 2 months. Because I know I'm going to forget and just touch my face and, like, stick my finger down my throat in public. And
I feel like wearing a mask...
I do that too.
I've been more... If I wear a mask, I'm like, I'm not touching my face. Like, it's a reminder to not touch my face.
Yeah,
which
the mask
I guess
does
they're
help.
saying, like, the opposite, where people are, like, want to adjust it and all that.
You get used to it, man. Like,
yeah.
I especially... Like, I've got a beard... So, like, it's really itchy, but I don't know, man. The more you wear it, the more you get used to it. And then, like, like, I accidentally walked into the gas station the other day without it on, and, like, I felt naked, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't even realize that I didn't put it back on. And I was like, well, I don't want to, like, walk back to my truck and then put it on and walk back in, because I didn't want to, I don't know, I just didn't want to do that. But it's weird, man. Like, it feels weird to be out. Like, being outside without one, I don't really wear one when I'm, like, outdoors or anything. Yeah. But, like, if I'm going in a fucking building, I'll put it on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not breathing in, like, the farts and the coughs of everybody that's been in there.
That is a good question. I think it's inconclusive. I have heard that feces can spread coronavirus, or it does contain some coronavirus materials, but I don't know about farts. But it would seem to be a logical next.
It's like the only way that coronavirus can spread is through farts. So, like, anytime you, like, hear somebody pass gas in public, I have just massive panic. Like, your significant other farts while they're asleep, and you're just like, uh-oh. Like, crawl out of bed.
Oh Oh, no, it's too late at that point.
Yeah, I think that's a symptom as well as increased flatulence.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people have, like, digestive issues with it.
Oh, that's actually true?
Yeah, it is. I saw a video the other day. It's very disturbing, honestly, about all of the different ways that it can present itself. Like, basically, it depends on, like, how you're exposed and, like, where and, like, whatever. But, like, there's different parts of your body that are more susceptible, that have, like, the ACE2 enzyme that it attacks. So yeah, there's a lot of people. A lot of people get it, like, digestive symptoms as well.
Did you guys know that they're able to, like, trace a couple different, like, strains basically of the virus, and they determined that every positive test in Iowa all came from, like, a strain in New York?
Yeah. I mean, they've been tracking it.
Yeah, they're speculating that every single case in Iowa stems from people that came from New York or people that were in New York.
Yeah, like a large. Yeah, I saw some of the stuff about that. And also, I saw that Andrew Cuomo's calling it the European virus or some shit, because they also did testing and they found out that the origin of the virus in New York was not China.
Please say Italy. Please say Italy.
Oh, yeah, it was Italy or Spain or wherever those New York folks had their vacations.
The Philadelphia driver said employees aren't being told when someone has symptoms. Instead of decontaminating right away, they're waiting days for positive test results, the trucker said. The driver also said company employees are aware of the past positive test at the KCK facility and concerns there. Okay, so company employees are aware, all right?
Yeah, and that's usually about as far as it goes before it dies on the table.
The extent of that statement? They're talking about it there where no one wants to touch the freight coming from Kansas, the trucker said. But I'm betting they are forced to touch that freight anyway. It's not just XPO Logistics facing the issue of supplying employees with PPE. A letter sent to President Trump on Friday from the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association had, and this is in all caps, "Help, Mayday, 911," in big bold letters at the top of the letter, because truckers don't have the PPE they need. The letter claimed, as a result, the nation's entire supply chain is at risk. That's the end of that article. It ends on a very bleak note.
Good, that's realistic.
Yep, and this was, again, early April, so I'm sure we're experiencing the fallout of XPO Logistics not taking precautions for their employees. But let's look upwards to the top of XPO Logistics. As I mentioned, I have a Forbes article on their CEO, Bradley Jacobs. This is from 2018. This is a couple years old. This is a piece by Antoine Gara. That's kind of a cool name. I like the name Antoine.
Yeah, good job on the name.
The headline of Antoine's article is, "Better than Amazon? How Bradley Jacobs turned a $63 million bet into a $12 billion transportation empire."
Nice. I love to do that myself. I can't wait to hear this article.
Yeah.
I like to gamble.
Yeah, gambling owns.
I like to go to the blackjack table and put down $63 million.
Yeah, just as a bit.
If I'm lucky, this will turn into $12 billion by the end of the night.
Always bet on black.
To that listener who requested this discussion, you know who you are, and this next segment is for you. Decades ago, Bradley Jacobs studied math and piano, classical and jazz, at Bennington and Brown before dropping out to make money.
Yeah?
I like this guy.
We're on sentence 1, and I'm already... Now the balding 61-year-old CEO of XPO Logistics invokes that background to explain how he's parlayed sequential roll-ups in the gritty businesses of garbage collection, heavy equipment rentals, and delivering stuff into a $2.6 billion net worth.
All of which he's probably never lifted a finger for. Like, I wonder how many garbage trucks this guy's been on the back of, or like how many packages he's sorted and put into trucks. And
oh, yeah. He's in the gritty business of garbage collection, which I haven't watched much of The Sopranos, but I know what that means.
Yeah.
Waste
I'm in the
management.
sanitation business. Wink, wink.
Anyone can buy a company. You just have to sign a contract and wire the money, he says.
Anyone can buy a company.
He's right.
You just wire the money that you
just
magically made appear.
Yep.
by having capital.
I'm willing to sell everybody listening a share in my company. All you have to do is PayPal me $100, and you will be a business owner then, just like this man.
Mm-hmm.
We'll include that in the show notes.
I do keep seeing ads on Facebook that's like, find out how Rock Hard Caucus can apply for benefits for, for COVID relief.
Yeah, we're going to get a small business loan.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't think we have to pay it back either, right? So let's just get as much as we can.
We got to pay all our employees.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But conceiving how those acquired company parts can be integrated into an organically growing entity takes a special creative talent. I don't even really know what that sentence means.
If it's organically growing, do we really need you, though? Like, you could just, it just happens on its own.
Yeah. Life finds a way, right?
Yeah.
This is a quote from Mr. Jacobs. Even though I'm not writing a song, I'm thinking of ideas that are abstract. It's a combination of math and music. I'm visualizing them as clearly as I possibly can in space and time, and then actually executing on them.
Dude, that sounds like a prospector post. That's really funny.
This is like
visualizing math and music.
This is like literally why these guys think they're successful. It's like, oh, like I'm more eclectic than my competitors.
Yeah.
Like it's like Elon Musk disease. Like I'm not successful because I had like huge structural advantages in capital. I'm successful because I was good at math.
Yeah, I didn't have my family's.
I'm not a musician. I'm not an artist, but like the art really, it speaks through me through the company, the trucking company that I own.
I went to music school for a semester before dropping out, and that's what makes me really good. That's my unique talent that I bring to the table here. If that sounds a tad highfalutin, consider this. In September 2011, Jacobs' family investment firm ponied up $62.5 million to gain control of Express One, a Michigan-based freight expediter, doing $170 million in sales a year. Okay, I'm considering it. He renamed Express One after its XPO stock symbol, moved its headquarters to Connecticut, and over 4 years spent more than $7 billion on 17 acquisitions. Today, XPO stock trades at 102, giving it a market cap of $12.3 billion for a compound annual return of 38% under Jacobs' watch. That's more than double the S&P's return and better than Amazon's. Is this all Forbes is? I've never read a Forbes article.
Yes.
It is.
And obviously that rate of return is going to be like just consistent forever. It's not like, okay.
Jacobs' own stake is worth $2 billion, making up the bulk of his fortune, which includes a 50-acre Greenwich estate, a 17,000-square-foot Palm Beach waterfront mansion just down the road from President Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
Sweet.
I wonder if they're buds.
Probably.
In one sense, I'm sure.
And a starter modern art collection with works by Picasso, de Kooning, Calder, and Lichtenstein.
Oh, wow.
And a lovely cottage with bunk beds in it and a trapdoor leading to a cellar on Little St. James Island.
Yeah. This guy is highfalutin, man. He's got Picasso's and he's got a property near Mar-a-Lago.
I love the word choice there. A starter modern art collection. It's like these Pokemon cards.
Yeah, he got the base card set.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot about the type of people that Forbes are writing these articles for, and the type of readers that this publication has. To talk about a starter art collection.
Excuse me, sir. I was guaranteed one holographic piece of art, and I didn't get it in my starter set. I would like a refund, please. Please give me my millions of dollars back.
Dude, I would love a holographic Liechtenstein. His art would look really cool, shiny like that. I'm skipping a couple paragraphs here because it's just a bunch of numbers again. Okay, here's a quote from an analyst. Back in the 1990s, I wrote reports saying FedEx is a technology company disguised as a transportation company. Today, the same could be said about XPO.
Yeah, I'm sure your take was very wrong back then. I have a feeling it's going to be wrong now. Like, it's like the premise of this article, him suggesting that this could overtake Amazon or become like an Amazon competitor, because he's absolutely fucking wrong, dude. Amazon said that they're like, what? They said like 5 to 10 years away from fully automated warehouses. Like, you gonna be able to fucking top that, dude? Within our lifetimes, we will see major shipping companies disappear, and it will just be Amazon. Like, the more they acquire and the more places that they... What's the word I'm looking for?
Infrastructure.
Yeah, the more infrastructure, the more places they absorb. Like, we'll be buying everything from Amazon grocery stores. We'll be getting our medication from Amazon pharmacies. Anything that you order online, well, I would say the vast majority is going to come from Amazon. Amazon step trucks will replace, like, FedEx and... maybe the United States Postal Service will go away.
They already kind of are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, in our lifetime, like, we're going to be living in, like, United States of Amazon, and, like, I'm not even joking about that.
Right, but I mean, I think we're pretty much already there. It's like, and like, when crises hit like this, it's like, the federal government isn't going to help you. It's going to be the fucking Walmarts and Amazons,
Yes.
they're going to be the ones who put food in your mouth,
yes.
allow you to feed your family. It's not going to be the fucking government.
Right, and Amazon is fucking bulletproof. Like,
right.
Amazon has proven that they are 100% recession-proof. Like, any sniff of things going south, they only get more powerful.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been making record profits over the past couple months.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing an Amazon truck drive by our house, like, 4 or 5 times a day.
Oh, yeah. I see them at work all the time, dude. And they deliver on Sundays, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when I was in, like, I guess when we were in, like, middle school, maybe, when Amazon was first a thing, and, like, it was just books.
Yeah.
Right,
like,
it was a bookstore.
It was Barnes and Noble's competitor.
Yes, you would use Amazon to purchase books, and that's it.
For most of his career, Jacobs has been doing deals, moving things, and looking to make money from an information edge.
Would he say
Another
it's an
thing
art?
I love doing.
He likes art, so he likes the art of the deal too.
That's right. His father was a jeweler in Providence, but college dropout Jacobs was drawn to the big profits being made in oil as prices spiked in the late 70s.
Oh, and he was a college dropout.
He was drawn to the big profits. Yes. This is...
I just love billionaire myth making.
What a unique quality.
I don't know if this guy's a billionaire, but...
He is. Yeah. 2.5 billion. Yeah.
Oh, okay. For sure.
He read up on oil brokers and then cold called his way into the business, enlisting...
That's all it takes, baby.
Yeah, enlisting the legendary Ludwig Jesselson. That's a good one. Head of commodity house Philip Brothers as a mentor.
Oh, yeah, I know him. He's an absolute ledge.
Jesselson's son is now XPO's lead independent director. Eventually, Jacobs moved to London, where he met his oil trader wife, Lamia? Or Lamia? Lamia, not a name I've seen before.
Please stop DMing my oil trader wife. Holy shit, what a power couple.
Please stop making deals with my wife. While living in London, he made millions by securing oil from places like Russia and Nigeria and chartering ships to transport it to Europe. How do you think he secured that oil? By 1989, however, futures markets were squeezing the profits of globe-trotting arbitrageurs like Jacobs, and he returned to the U.S. to research his next venture.
It's insane. Like, I just think of, like, how when I was younger, I would, like, read, it's just, like, propaganda. They use a word like arbiter and, like,
yeah.
In, like, in a non-negative fashion. Like,
arbitrageur.
Yeah, I'm just committing arbitrage. Like that's a totally normal thing, and not just like playing a fucking shell game where you're guaranteed to win because you already have so many like vast resources at your hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's just literally exploiting fucking economies of scale.
Yeah. It goes on to describe his adventures in waste management. One sentence I'll give you here is, Jacobs hired them, Browning Ferris executives, former. He hired them and went on an acquisition tear, consolidating hundreds of mom-and-pop collectors with overlapping routes in areas like southern Kentucky and Michigan.
Oh, yeah, man. Who doesn't love to go on a good acquisitional tear with your boys once in a while? Just go fucking wild and absorb as many businesses as you can.
United Waste is the name of his garbage company. trying to find the best parts because these Forbes people are very long-winded.
They are.
Jacobs purposely started out in a capital light niche of the market. I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'll just read the end here. XPO is going to be a global logistics juggernaut, said Stephen Denicolo?
Yeah, the niche, man. I know him.
A portfolio manager at the $6 billion Federated Kaufman Fund, which holds XPO shares. He called the stock undervalued relative to peers J.B. Hunt, C.H. Robinson, and Old Dominion Freight Line. And if the economy turns, say this for Jacobs. He gets the value of improvisation.
Oh, is that a music thing? Is that from
It
his
is.
semester in college?
Yeah, it is.
No, he's actually an improv comedy.
What a
He's
nice
like a Second
callback.
City graduate.
Yeah, he went to the Connecticut UCB.
Yeah.
In jazz, if you hit a wrong note, there's no such thing as a wrong note.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. Jazz isn't real music.
That's the note. That's the reality. You radically accept that, and you build on it. He riffs. Music is really business. You have to be using all of your senses at the same time, and you have to be dancing with the circumstances and evolving.
I wonder what his favorite music is, though.
This guy doesn't
I don't
listen
know.
to music.
I don't
at
think he
all.
listens. I'll just say I don't think he's ever listened to jazz.
Just like all these psychos, the only thing that they would ever say that they listen to is like Bruce Springsteen or just like something that like pops into their head immediately. They have like a fleeting memory of from their like teenage years. They don't listen to anything. You're right.
Yeah, no, this guy doesn't enjoy music.
Yeah, it's like Mitt Romney.
His favorite food
it's
is
like
hot
Mitt Romney
dog.
saying he likes hot dog meat.
Yeah. His starter art collection is, he doesn't look at them. They're just like,
Yeah, it's tokens.
yeah.
It's tokens of his achievement.
And I could go down a real rabbit hole with what he says about jazz here, but
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like personally offensive to Justin.
there's no such thing as a wrong note. That's not really.
Yeah, what the fuck does that even mean?
That's true, actually.
I mean, I would subscribe to a philosophy like that, but that is definitely not like a larger. Like,
No.
it's not jazz as a whole. Is not saying
Right.
there's no such thing as a wrong note. Like, jazz is
Yeah.
very much about like chords and scales and like.
Yeah, it is. No
being
wonder he
correct.
dropped out. It's like, yeah, man, music is just like whatever, like there is no wrong music, bro. Which is right, but
And, yeah, I mean,
the psycho
I-
doesn't believe that.
Yeah, like I would believe that, but the kind of music that a layman would call jazz, like that's not really the philosophy behind that. Like that's not the technique that's going on. Just play whatever
Yeah,
you
I
want. Nothing is wrong.
Also, to point out, he literally said business is music.
Yeah. Actually, he said music is really business.
Oh, music is really business. Okay, well that is true. There are some large record labels and large companies that make a lot of money churning out a lot of music that sounds very similar to each other.
You have to be using all of your senses at the same time. I would say that's not true for either music or business.
Yeah, I love to use my sense of taste while conducting business and while playing my guitar.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Maybe he has like synesthesia and he can taste the music that he hears.
Yeah,
Maybe he's likes to play a theremin with his tongue.
right. There's also never been any blind musicians either, so
Right. Definitely not any like super famous blind musicians.
no, not at all. No very talented guitar players or very talented piano players.
All right, well that's Bradley Jacobs.
Oh, I hate him.
He's one of our beloved job creators here in Iowa. Roughly 600 of our state's workforce are collecting a paycheck with his signature on it, and we salute him for that. And to the listener who requested this, thank you. This was
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I'm
I hate this asshole.
I'm glad I found this really annoying.
No,
Forbes
that's a really
article.
really funny article.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, if that one pissed you off, well, I've got something a little closer to home that's going to make us a little bit, I think, more angry, but in a different way. So this was published in the Press Citizen just a few days ago, May 14th. It's written by Richard Cherwitz.
That's a fresh one then. Sweet.
He is a PhD. He has a PhD. He's a communications professor at the University of Texas. The reason that he has a column here in a local Iowa paper is that he holds 3 degrees from the University of Iowa. So he's got some roots here. Yeah.
That must mean he's really smart, right?
Yes, for sure. His intelligence will be on display with the words that we discuss shortly.
Okay.
Cool.
So this is a guest opinion piece from Richard Cherwitz, and it's called A Rhetorical Model for Addressing the COVID-19 Pandemic. A rhetorical model.
Rhetorical?
Where are you going with this, Richard?
We could just speak it out of existence using our superior logic.
Any predictions what he's talking about here? A rhetorical model?
No fucking clue. Though I will say you can spread it very easily by speaking. Maybe stay away from the rhetoric.
Yeah. It's also very interesting that the COVID scientists refuse to debate me in a public setting.
Yeah. All right, well, he gives up the game pretty quick. My admiration and respect for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo increases following each of his daily COVID-19 briefings. As a scholar of political communications for more than 40 years, rarely have I studied a political leader who so thoroughly understands how to respond rhetorically to a health crisis. He is a model for other political leaders.
We're still doing this? I thought that died out when he cut all the Medicaid shit and they have more deaths than anywhere.
I'm beyond tired of hearing about Cuomo. I'm not gonna lie.
Give credit to the people who actually did something correctly. Inslee is only a governor who actually has done a good job with this, basically.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
For example, in March, Cuomo exhibited, as he has done regularly since, how to be a genuine leader, believable public figure, and compassionate human being, and what rhetorical skills and virtues that requires. Using a very personal and powerful story about his brother, Chris Cuomo, CNN anchor, who tested positive for COVID-19, the governor told a heartwarming, at times humorous, story that resonated with his audience. Could this be any more just fucking pointless?
This is liberal brain.
People cannot stop sucking this dude off. I'm sick of it.
He's my favorite leader because he told a nice story about his sick brother. Man, who fucking cares?
Yogurt brained morons.
Record deaths.
Thousands of people died. Oh my god.
Well, you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, right?
It was a story with which anyone, regardless of political view, could identify.
Reaching across the aisle. My favorite thing to do.
Let's pause there. How many would you say MAGA voters identify with Andrew Cuomo's leadership and his rhetorical style? You think they're coming over to his side of the aisle because of the way he speaks?
No, surely.
Cuomo used this personal narrative to document concretely how to challenge people calmly but firmly and decisively to take the pandemic seriously, hence behaving in a disciplined manner that is respectful to others. And I mean, we're going to be doing this over and over again, but if we move beyond the rhetorical strategy and look at maybe the material effectiveness of his leadership strategy, specifically with getting New Yorkers to take the pandemic seriously, didn't we say earlier that it's been traced back to New York, pretty much all of the Iowa cases?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe we looked at a map earlier which showed all of the people traveling from New York all over the country. Yeah. He did a great job keeping those people quarantined.
The diaspora.
New York diaspora.
If anything, MAGA people would love that because he's letting them live their lives and exercise their rights to travel. So that's actually good.
Well, and also, the fucking New York state politics is, they're, one of the most corrupt states. Just because they are so heavily Democrat. It's ridiculous the way that Democrats don't think that, in heavily Democratic states, there's, no corruption. The red state corruption is specifically red states.
It's exclusive to red states, yes.
Illinois is famous, too.
Yeah, Illinois is the most corrupt state in the union, and it's entirely Democrats. And, Cuomo's he's a, austerity fucking hawk. He's a fucking conservative.
Yeah.
Like, just because he's got a D next to his name, he doesn't care. He cares more about corporate fucking donors than he does about fucking people. Come on.
He and his administration helped the Republicans gain control of the state legislature over in New York, if you were not aware of that.
Yeah, they do the fucking gerrymandering. They fucking consolidate power the same way Republicans do. They just do it with a fucking smile on their face.
He's kind of the worst of both worlds because it's like New York has just devastating deaths from coronavirus, so completely ineffective on that front. And then he also sort of like puts on this persona of like the strong man. So it's like in terms of what we were talking about, like regardless of political view, you have to respect his rhetorical strategy. It's like nobody who takes the virus seriously should respect this guy because he totally like fucked up and the state is dead. And then nobody on the right is going to be like attracted to him because the way he talks about it, it's like, yeah, we shut this shit down. Like, we took it seriously. We're the big government stopping you from going to Applebee's, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's get back to what Richard has to say, because he's a big fan. Moreover, Cuomo daily portrays his own humanity, thorough grasp of the facts, and awareness of what must be done to get us through this difficult moment in our country's history. In addition, the rhetorically astute balance demonstrated in the governor's discourse of personal narrative with the needed response to the pandemic is superb, providing an archetype of successful messaging in times of crisis. Successful messaging. Yes, that's what's important here.
Yeah, that's the real test. It's the real measure of how successful a politician is.
Yeah. Of special note is the fact that Cuomo regularly and candidly acknowledges what he doesn't know, something that increases his ethos and allows him to be taken more seriously by his constituents. I'd question that.
Yes, absolutely.
No, I'm pretty sure that's only for media guys.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
oh, look, he's being humble. He's showing humility. I can write about this. I can use this as a hook in my next article.
Yeah, your average citizen, when they see their governor...
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Come
when they
on,
see
man.
their governor acknowledge, oh, I don't know all the facts on that. Like, are you going to be like, oh, this guy's like, he's being honest. I
He's
respect
just like
him.
me.
Yeah.
He's dumb as a fucking rock.
No, it's like, you motherfucker, you idiot.
Yeah, I love watching Kim Reynolds personally. She has all the answers and really puts me at ease about the situation in our state.
Oh, yeah. Cuomo is cognizant of the fact that people would rather hear the truth, no matter how bad or harsh, than to remain confused and in limbo. He appreciates the significant categorical differences between facts and emotions.
Ah, yes. A man of logic, I see.
He chose correctly. He chose logic.
Yes.
As well as data and politics, frequently reminding his audience of Joe Friday's catchphrase from Dragnet.
Holy shit, how old is this guy?
Anybody? Anybody know?
I've seen a couple episodes of Dragnet when I was like 10.
Yeah.
Isn't that show from like the fucking 50s?
Yeah, this is again like this is an old people reference for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has a cool theme though, like the intro. I remember the intro. That's
Yeah.
good shit.
That was cool.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Joe Friday's catchphrase from Dragnet. Anyone care to take a guess?
Always wipe twice.
I'll go with Chuck.
All right. Joe Friday's catchphrase from Dragnet was, "Just the facts, ma'am."
Okay. That's
we all
cool.
remember that. Yeah,
Of course.
we all say that all the time because
Yeah.
we all idolize the Dragnet star Joe Friday.
Yeah, and we all agree what the facts are also.
Right. Yeah. I totally value data over politics and facts over emotions.
Yeah, there's no way you can twist the data. There's no way. That's just pure data, baby. No way to represent it differently.
Facts do not care about my feelings, and I respect it.
They do, however, care about mine.
The governor's briefings are rich in easy-to-digest visual data and consistently decry the natural and unproductive tendency by politicians and pundits to spin information about and blame others for the coronavirus pandemic, all of which prevents solution of the problem. By contrast, Cuomo routinely marshals a rhetorically powerful case for why people, regardless of partisan perspective, should stop exploiting the current crisis by turning a health issue into a political one. He's done a bang-up job there.
Good luck.
Yeah. While some perhaps rightfully take issue with Cuomo's failure to respond quickly to the COVID-19 pandemic, perhaps rightfully, yeah, it cannot be denied that, unlike Donald Trump, his communication provides an effective rhetorical response, revealing strength, personal resolve, love, compassion, and honesty.
What a fucking measuring stick, man.
What a moron.
I love being alive right now. This is the best time in history to be alive, by far. Possibly better than the bubonic plague.
I don't understand, like, how these people don't... I guess they don't see... They're like, oh, like, he actually is a good guy and he actually does care, and they don't, like, see, like, the actual effects of his policies, really.
No,
because
of
they're
course
not
not.
the ones who are affected. They're not, the people on the bottom.
Or they don't give a fuck. Like, they don't believe anything they write. That's also a very real possibility, and I think probably also the most likely one.
I just... It's insane. It's, like, weakening your own position because it's just so hypocritical. And, like... I mean, this whole, like, there's a whole cottage industry of, like, media guys like this, and it's, like, a pathological inability to ever hold people in power accountable. Like,
do you think that the people who these articles are written for, do you think that they realize those people, like, they don't care about that. Like, they know the people that read these articles don't give a fuck about that. They want this kind of service. They don't want,
yeah,
to, like,
they
look
want
at it
a fantasy.
objectively. Yeah, exactly.
They want a pacifier. They don't want to know, like, how the sausage is.
No,
is
they
made.
don't.
It's just, it seems endemic to, like, modern liberalism, where it's just like at what point do you turn on these people? Like, at what point?
Yeah.
Like, Biden? Like, are you fucking kidding me? At what point do you turn on these fucking people?
Now listen here, Jack.
Like, you're just allowing, like, it's just a regression. Like, you're just sitting by watching, like, politics regress and, like applauding when they do the stage play well without, like, someone forgetting their lines.
I'll probably look this up after we finish the episode, but I would be shocked if Richard Cherwitz does not have a similar article about Joe Biden. Just that phrase
sounds like it.
Rhetorical response, which reveals strength, personal resolve, love, compassion, and honesty. It's exactly the same way these people talk about Biden.
That's the way they're pitching him. Yeah, he's empathetic. He listens to the quiet power of Joe Biden. Oh, God, I haven't listened to that.
Do you guys think that these guys, their brains have always been like this? Or do you think that, like, Trump getting elected was, like, some sort of, like, it activated some, like, what do you call it? Some kind of, like, pre-programmed code in their brain that just made their brain execute this procedure of acting this way?
I'm curious about, because this guy is old enough to have been aware of politics when Nixon was impeached, or was going to be, and resigned. And it's like, how can you witness that and then still like view politics through this lens?
Because he was a Republican, that's why.
Yeah,
Democrats are actually good.
Yeah, I would say these people are generally, like, very privileged and, like, genuinely probably do, like, when there's a Democrat in office, they're, like, genuinely convince themselves that, like, oh, like, I'm doing well, like, they're doing good things for people who are doing less well than me. And then when, like, Trump gets in office, like, it's really just an aesthetic thing where it's like, he makes me uncomfortable because of his...
that's all it is. Like, a lot of people, their lives have not changed, or they've changed very little, like, directly, like, their lives and, like, the lives of their immediate family have barely changed.
Like, to them, the change is a change in rhetoric. They don't see any of the actual, like, consequences because they're largely insulated from them. So, like, the big change that they're seeing is, like, Obama talked nice and Trump, like, is vulgar and all this shit. And
it's also some of the same things that got Trump elected, is now there's a different group of people that are feeling like they're losing some kind of culture war.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's entirely resentment-based.
Like, look at the evangelical right. Like, how the fuck can those people say that Trump is, like, a man of God and, like, he's God's choice to run the country? Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, have you read the Bible? Like, do you know who this guy is? Like, it's just, they'll believe anything and they'll do anything to feel like they've got a leg up in the culture war once again. And their way of life is the one that's, it's the one that they feel like being represented by the government. And being represented in media and everything, when the reality is that it's not representing any of us. Like, no normal people are represented whatsoever on that level. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. And again, the Democrats are better than the Republicans in some aspects. But the problem is when the rhetoric doesn't match their actual actions, they are the ones who look like the biggest fucking hypocrites, and then Republicans hammer them on it.
Yep.
And it's true. It's true. Like, I'm sorry, when the Republicans attack you for being a hypocrite, they're not always wrong. Like,
and they're unafraid to do it. Like, they'll they'll throw any punch at you.
For a lot of people. The people who are on the fence, people who don't have strong ideological convictions.
Yeah, if there's one thing the Republicans are very good at, it's just delivering absolute fucking haymakers to people when it comes to just, like, tearing them apart. Like, they don't give a fuck, dude. Like, they're cage fighters, man. Like, they don't...
And both parties are hypocritical, but, like, I feel like the modern Democratic Party is pretty much defined... That's, like, the only thing that defines it, really, is hypocrisy.
Yeah. Put simply, Cuomo illustrates how to balance what Aristotle, in his rhetoric, called ethos, pathos, and logos. The persuasive appeals
Aristotle.
Most needed during a time of crisis. He's putting those 3 degrees to work here. He's read Aristotle,
really
guys. This guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to talking.
Yeah, now he's got my attention.
Cuomo proves what communication scholars have known for years. That in addition to fact-based policies, crises require a fitting rhetorical answer. As academic research reveals, rhetorical responses often impact the effectiveness of a chosen policy. Okay, I guess. What about, I mean, is the policy working, though? That's
right. That seems like a better way. That seems like a better way to, like, solidify your political gains by actually having, like, instead of just talking good, than, like, actually helping people. Mm-hmm. That might actually make them get them to vote for you.
I mean, this is this guy's area of expertise, and I wouldn't completely dismiss the importance of, like, being able to communicate to constituents and stuff, but it does seem like the policy itself is actually important. like real world effects that you have on people will probably make more of an impact than what you say on TV. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had a president of the United States who...
Oh, here we go.
who, instead of promoting himself, spewing false as well as dangerous information, attacking others and refusing to take responsibility, could lead in this manner.
What if we did have that and then it led directly to Donald Trump?
Not only would that reduce the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it would help unite a politically divided nation.
Yes, the mean man on TV. If Trump wasn't being a meanie on TV and calling her Greasy Nancy or whatever, like, things would be much better.
I would love to hear him pull that one.
Dude, if he comes out on stage at the debate, if he, like, calls her, like, Greasy Nancy or, like, Oily Pelosi and just, like, brings the pillow with him and throws it on stage during the debate and is like, all right, Sleepy Joe, I think it's time for you to take a nap. Like, I'll fucking vote for him, man. That shit rocks so hard.
Parody.
Who gives a shit anymore?
Stella said on the last episode, too.
Yeah, we're getting dangerously close to voting for Republicans.
As a bit.
Yeah, we do not actually endorse voting for Republicans.
No.
But I would say...
We barely endorse voting.
Yeah, exactly. There's basically nothing we can do on the ballot at this point, so... It's
not right now, not this year.
Yeah, it's fun to joke about. So that's Richard Cherwitz's article, just praising the rhetorical leadership of Andrew Cuomo over there in New York. I would like to point out that as somebody living and working in Texas with and writing for a local paper here in Iowa, maybe he has, like, more important things he could be writing about than fucking Andrew Cuomo.
Wow,
like,
that's
maybe
right.
Maybe you could talk about the Texas state government or the Iowa state government, who...
that's quite the triangulation when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he just has to focus on, like, something happening 1,000 miles away and talk about how, wouldn't it be nice if someone like Andrew Cuomo was in the White House? Oh my God. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Write about something real.
It really wouldn't be nice either. Like, it objective, like, for the majority of people, I mean, this is a repeating pattern, but yeah, I don't think it would be very nice.
Yeah, no.
Do you think that's, like, from the Cuomo thing is a result of like mounting anxiety about Joe Biden's ability to like even make it to election day, or do you think that people are actually considering this as an actual better alternative?
I think it's kind of died out. Like that's why I was kind of surprised this article is so recent, because I thought the Cuomo worship had kind of died out after 50,000 people died or whatever.
I'm guessing he wrote this like a few weeks ago and it was just finally published. I don't know.
So yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, but yeah, it probably is partially that. The feeling that of competency that you get from Cuomo that you don't get from Biden, because not even trying at all.
No, dude.
That's kind of the unspoken motive of this piece is like, yeah, and what if Andrew Cuomo could replace a certain other high-ranking political figure?
Yeah.
Especially when you focus on rhetoric. I mean, like I said, like this is what people are saying about Biden, that he's like effective at expressing his empathy and love. But
yes,
I mean,
he'll be the healer in chief instead of the divider in chief.
the truth of the matter that people like this are not willing to like confront publicly in a piece like this is that Joe Biden is not an effective communicator in any way at all. Like he cannot speak or like conduct himself in an interview at all
for more than like 45 seconds.
That's been his like Achilles heel for his entire career. Well, and also just being a shithead. But like it was like he was notorious for gaffes. Like that was a thing. Like when Obama even shows him, was like, is he gonna fuck up and say some dumb shit? Which I mean, he definitely did.
Yeah,
bumbling Biden.
Yeah,
man, this rules. I'm glad that it's turning out this way. The election. I've said this before in our DM that if they just like okay, so I think I said it before on the show too, but like the absolute funniest thing, the most hilarious, like dumbest, just ridiculous outcome to anything is typically the most likely anymore. So part of me, and I know we've talked about this before, would love it if after all of this that we've gone through with the caucus and the primaries and COVID and Joe Biden, if he just drops out and we just get Hillary again as the nominee.
Oh, part of you would enjoy that? I think I'm...
Oh, God, dude, yeah.
I think probably all
and
of
I would
you
also,
would enjoy that.
Yes. After everything we've been through, it's just Hillary again.
Yeah, like the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And you know what? She probably has a way better... She would win.
She might.
She has a better shot than Biden, I'll say that.
Well, the Republican...
Maybe. I don't know.
The Republicans already have the Hillary playbook, and she's done nothing to make herself any more likable in the last 4 years anyway, so I don't think that she'd have a better shot. But
right, but this time Trump has actually been president for 4 years, and so like the contrast is a little bit different.
Well, whose support do you think would have dwindled more in the last 4 years? I know Hillary's not president, obviously, but like...
Yeah, I mean, she's trying to maintain her public image as like much as possible with her podcast shit, going on Howard Stern.
Oh, I forgot about her podcast. Did Howard Stern ask her to get on the Sybian?
I don't believe so.
Have
But
you ever been molested as a child?
yeah, it's really funny, the Howard Stern, the way his career has gone.
I know.
Now he's like the safe. It's safe enough for Hillary to go on his show. What a world.
He's like a tamer Bill Maher now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
That's a good way
Bill
to put
Maher
it.
is more controversial than Howard Stern, for sure, at this point.
All right. Well, I think we've talked about all we need to talk about today. We got through a couple of very fun articles.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Yeah, I was thinking I might have an on-air meltdown today, but I didn't get quite that far. I just said some bad words as usual. So I'm glad I was able to keep myself composed. You know, like my idol Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah,
I was able to employ an effective rhetorical strategy on today's episode. I'm really glad that Chuck was available to come back on the show today.
absolutely.
Well, like I said, my brain's been repaired and I'm ready to go.
Welcome back to the fold,
Thank you.
Chuck.
Thank you for having me. You guys this show's been very funny. It's been nice to listen to. I just haven't really felt like being on or doing anything like getting mad and, you know.
Right.
I just didn't feel like doing this for a while.
It wears you down a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, plus I'm still like going to work and shit, so it's just like, I don't know. It sucked, but
yeah.
I mean, we're all gonna die, so you know the state's reopening, so I'm back on the show. It doesn't matter, everything's fine. We flattened the podcast curve. Yeah.
We did our best without you, but we're glad that you're back, and now it's time for the golden age of Rock Hard Caucus.
Yes, the age without women on the show.
What if Bernie would have won?
That'd be so... I can't even imagine that anymore, dude. Like, it just feels so far in the rearview mirror to me that I can't even think about what it would be like anymore. I could barely fathom it when it was like a possibility, you know?
Right. Yeah, you were the smart one, because in the first episode you said that you thought it was going to be Biden, and we were like, I don't know, man, he sucks at campaigning.
I did say that.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And then we were based. I mean, I was looking pretty good for a while there. I mean, I called him in like 4th place, and he got 5th in the caucuses.
Yeah. To be fair, it was the Iowa caucus that we were talking about, not who would get the nomination.
Yeah. True.
But,
true.
You know, I'll still take that as a victory. Another big win for me.
Congrats.
Yeah. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. Except maybe the Democrat part, the DNC.
The only thing that I saw coming was just probably getting fucked again. You guys know that I'm usually not super hopeful about things like that or very optimistic, but for once in my life, I was leaning far more towards something good happening than something bad happening, and I was quickly reminded as to why that's a foolish way to think about anything. Just remember, whatever the dumbest outcome is now the most likely. Like, think of something that's like, okay, what do you guys think is the stupidest possible outcome to the COVID crisis? Not the saddest, but the dumbest one.
That basically it all just evaporates and everything's fine from here on out.
Yeah, that's okay. Perfect. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Put your money on that.
Yeah, and Trump and all of the, Republicans who thought it was fake are just completely vindicated. I think that would be the dumbest.
Yep.
We're getting into the summer months here, so that heat and sunlight is gonna kill it.
Yes,
kill it dead in its
inside
tracks.
your body, though, that doesn't harm it at all.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was, always a possibility that the Democrats would consolidate around another moderate candidate. I think we might have discussed that too, but I didn't expect it to be Biden, honestly. It would have made more sense for them to go with Pete, honestly.
Yes, Pete was the logical choice.
But
Pete could beat Trump.
He didn't earn his way,
Yeah,
and also I think a lot of people.
Pinky ring.
He didn't kiss the pinky ring. Now he kissed the pinky ring, and now he's balding. He's
he's his hair held on just long enough for the fucking for Super Tuesday. Then it's just it's all right.
He's been cursed.
Yeah, exactly.
He's cursed by his Marxist father's ghost.
I cannot wait to see him again in 20 years running for president. I'll tell you guys now.
It might be as soon as 4. It might be as soon as 4, buddy.
I don't know. They need to put him back in the tank. Let him grow a little more.
All right, you guys ready to put this thing to bed?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, if you haven't checked out our Patreon, you might enjoy that. I'm almost done reading through Joseph Dobrian's first novel. I'll have episodes.
That shit is getting wild.
Yeah.
That last episode was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I haven't listened yet. How many pubic hair references are we up to?
2.
And what was the over-under, 7?
I believe it was 5.5.
Ooh. Okay, I haven't listened to the new one. I'm wondering if it's going to ratchet up a little bit. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, we'd need a lot of pubes in the last.
Yeah, you're looking good so far.
Who's we? Yeah, I don't.
The last episode with Rock Hard Caucus official artist Allie High was probably the worst thing I've ever recorded in terms of the things that I said into a microphone. Yeah.
Oh, I've got to listen now.
So yeah,
it's good. Allie is great.
Yeah, listeners, if you want more of our show, go to patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. Episode 9 will probably be out later this week. We'll see. But thanks for listening. As always, if you want to get in touch, you can reach out on Twitter @rockhardcaucus. Natalie probably monitors an email inbox at rockhardcaucus@gmail.com. We don't get a lot of emails, so it'd be fun to just flood our inbox. So Natalie has a lot of reading material. But that's it. Rock Hard Caucus is adjourned. Thanks. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.